Today in Formula 2, a Barbadian gets mecha-chromed. We have an over-ambitious Frenchman. A Frenchman goes for the double. Alright, welcome back, Sebastian here. So today we had the Formula 2 Saudi Arabia sprint race. So I'm going to go over all of the action and I'll give my thoughts as well. So Crawford started on pole, on the reverse grid pole. Of course, Martin starts on pole position tomorrow for the feature race, Bosching alongside on the front row. Stanek and Novalak were both given 5-place grid penalties for the sprint race for failing to give their tires back after qualifying. So they started 21st and 16th respectively. Let's see, lap 1, good start for Crawford, clean through the first chicane. Behrman goes around the outside of Martin's at turn 13, and Doohan also cut turn 4. So Behrman tried to get ahead of Doohan tries to stay ahead of Behrman at turn 4, but cuts the chicane and stays ahead. Iwasa in P2 ahead of Bosching, putting pressure on Crawford in P1. Lap 2, Iwasa overtakes Crawford for P1 at turn 1. So very quickly getting that overtake done for the lead. Maloney spins at turn 2, looks like he was too early on the throttle trying to overtake around the outside of turn 2, and he just spins the car on his own and the engine stalls. And so there's your mecha-chrome moment of the race. So then the safety car comes out to retrieve, to clear up Maloney's car, and the safety car comes back in at the end of lap 4. So lap 5, no extracurriculars into turn 1 please. So we know this is a track where there's lots of safety cars, and it's very easy to get safety cars. So for the drivers, they really need to make sure that they're just clean throughout the race, and the points will be there for them to pick up. So Bosching overtakes Crawford for P2 at turn 1. Miney then falls down from P3 to P6. He goes wide at turn 2 trying to get an overtake, and he kind of gets shoved out of the way, which causes him to lose speed and momentum, and 3 cars pass him going into the next turn 3. Martins passes Miney for P6 going into T13, and Pourchaire passes Miney for P7 going into turn 1. So at this point, the front of the pack is still very tight together, and there's a small gap between Iwasa, Bosching, and the others. Lap 7, Dorvilla overtakes Crawford, and here's probably the big moment of the race. So Pourchaire and Behrman crash out. So what ended up happening was Pourchaire tried to overtake Martins ahead for P5, I think, and he just goes way too late on the brakes, goes way past Martins, and just simply crashes into Behrman, who is minding his own business in P5. So not great for Pourchaire, and he looks like he's admitting fault and apologizing to Behrman right after getting out of the car. So the safety car comes out again, goes through the pit line. Oh yeah, last note on that crash. To me, it reminded me a lot of Sam Bird's crash with his teammate Mitch Evans in Formula E in the Hyderabad E-Prix. He wasn't even aiming for, Evans was going for the car between them, and simply takes a car 2 cars ahead out instead. So just clatters in the side of him, and possible grid penalty for next week I wrote right away. And they've said a couple of laps later that the 2 of them would be investigated after the start. Well, Pourchaire would be investigated for causing a collision. Safety car comes in end of lap 9, and this time Iwasa goes early. So right out of turn 27, he just goes right away. So no theatrics going up to the line this time. Lap 10, Martins overtakes Crawford at T1 for P4. Miney overtakes Crawford at T13 for P5, and then Crawford gets him back at T20 turn 27. 3 wide going into turn 1, and Miney gets ahead again. Dorvilla overtakes Bosching at T27 for P2. Lap 12, Bosching retakes the position at turn 1. So twice here in very short succession, cars trying to overtake at turn 27 and then getting repassed at turn 1. So Dorvilla noted for starting procedure infringement. However, they said later there would be no further action for it. Field's still quite close together, and there's only 6 seconds covering the top 10. So the top 10 cars really close together. Lap 13, Dorvilla overtakes Bosching turn 1 at turn 1. Goes around the outside turn 1 and then takes the inside for turn 2, so a lovely overtake there. And turn 2, I wrote down turn 1 looking like the preferred overtaking spot because turn 27 compromises your exit going onto the straight leading to turn 1. So you're better off sitting right behind the car in front, going into turn 27, getting a good exit, and passing them into turn 1. Lap 14, Martins overtakes Boschung for P3 at turn 1. Lap 15, Deruvula goes for a late move on Iwasa and kind of goes through the runoff area instead. Lap 16, the top 3 were all very close going into turn 1, and both Deruvula and Martins try to make a car on the move ahead. However, it's kind of like a half a herded move, so no one gets any positions and no one gets any close to any contact. Vesti overtakes Duin at turn 27 for P7. Lap 17, Deruvula goes for a move at turn 1 on Iwasa, goes wide at turn 2, and Martins takes the position. So Martins opportunistic and moves up to P2. Lap 18, Hauger overtakes Leclerc at turn 1 for P9. At this point, there's really tight gap, really tight top 11. So there's only about half a second between each of the cars, and then there's a big sizable gap of like 4 seconds back to P12. Lap 19, Vesti overtakes Crawford P6 into turn 1, and final lap 20, Duin overtakes Crawford at P7 at turn 1. Let's see. Martin's getting close at turn 1, but can't follow through the really tight high-speed corners going up to turn 13. And Hauger gets Crawford on the line for P8, so that is your sprint race. And Martins gets the fastest lap, so gets the extra point for that. So your race result was Iwasa 1st, Martins 2nd, Deruvula 3rd, Boschung 4th, Maini 5th, Vesti 6th, Duin 7th, Hauger in 8th, Crawford in 9th, Nissany in 10th, Leclerc in 11th, Hadjar in 12th, Fittipaldi 13th, Correa 14th, Novalak 15th, Versure 16th, Stanek 17th, Benavides 18th, and Cordial 19th. So your retirements list, 3 retirements for this race, Behrman, Pourchaire, and Maloney. So the championship standings going into the feature race tomorrow. Ralph Boschung, who could have seen that coming, moves up into 1st in the championship. 1st place, 33 points. 2nd, Pourchaire, 32 points. 3rd, Iwasa, 19 points. 4th, Maini, 18 points. Martins, 5th, 17 points. 6th, Maloney, 15 points. 7th, Versure, 11 points. 8th, Hauger, 9 points. 9th, Deruvula, 9 points as well. 10th, Leclerc, 8 points. 11th, Hadjar, 6 points. 12th, Vesti, 3 points. 13th, Fittipaldi, 3 points. 14th, Duan, 2 points. 1 Manuel Correa, 1 point in 15th. And Nissany, Crawford, Novalak, Stanek, Behrman, Cordial, and Benavides are the remaining cars that do not have a point yet. Honestly, out of those, I feel kind of bad for Behrman. He's looked quite good. I think he had a couple issues in Bahrain, but looked great today from P5 and was kind of taken out through no fault of his own. So that's your Bahrain F2 sprint race. Pretty exciting, although that being said, I was kind of worried that we are going to have a lot of safety cars. We only have 2, which wasn't terrible, but for the first half of the race, the first 10 laps of the race, I think we only had, I think 2 to 4 laps of actual racing, and the rest of that was safety cars. So 2 to 3 laps of racing and then safety cars. Second half of the race was much better. Wasn't any big incidents after that, but overall pretty solid, pretty exciting Formula 2 sprint race. So please leave your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the race? And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll be back again tomorrow with the F2 feature race. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.